A solo role-playing game about dangerous dungeons, reclaiming wealth, and about surviving for as long as you possibly can. Today, my friends, we're delving into A Torch in the Dark. Let's break it down. Well, hi, hello, everybody. My name is Turk. Welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Around here, we all different kinds of weird TTRPG things, but that's right. Today, we're playing a solo one-shot of A Torch in the Dark. Before we begin, as I'm sure that you know, there are links down in the description if you want to pick this up for yourself or anything else I use in this video. And by using those links, it helps support the show. That's right. So, today we're going to read through this. This is going to kind of be, as always, a how to play and an actual play, because we're actually going to play it a little bit, as well as read through this bad boy. Now, as you can see, I printed this myself. Alrighty-dighty, so this game is made in Canada and printed by Not Writing Games. Developed and authored by John Harper. Thanks, John Harper. Appreciate you. We got our beautiful credits here. Artwork was used with permission by Charles Ferguson Avery. Very good. Table of contents and then a whole wall of text. I believe this is kind of like the backstory of the world. Civil War in Keenbrough. I'm going to read through this real quick to see if there's anything important that we need to note, so I don't read through the whole thing. Important. Witnesses testified that the dead walk among us, the living, assaulting every breathing thing. So there's some dead zombie stuff going on. There's also demons. This is pretty good. If you play this yourself, definitely read through it. All right, now on to another page. Torch in the Dark is a single-player game. Dangerous dungeons, reclaiming wealth, and surviving for as long as you can. There are undead nobles, deadly traps, and tough choices. You will make several delves into different dungeons, randomly generating the encounters as you go. If you survive, you'll spend time recovering, resupplying, and preparing for your next delve to kill undead lords. The game requires at least 6 six-sided dice, D6s, which you will roll when facing traps, undead, nobility, and other encounters in each dungeon. To the dice shelf. I got them all set up really cool now, and I'm really proud of it, and I put jars as a short on the, okay. 6 D6s, you say? Here we are. All right, let's do 3 black and 3 white. All right, you will roll these dice to determine any equipment you acquire or conditions you clear during downtime. You will also need a deck of playing cards. And I already grabbed these out because I knew that. We're going to be using these Black Cherry Casinos today because these are ones that I haven't used on the channel, and I used to collect playing cards. I still would if I could afford to do so. These are pretty nice. You will use the cards to randomly generate dungeon encounters. Each card represents a difficult encounter, and these encounters will change as you delve into different dungeons. A character sheet and reference sheet are provided with digital copies of the game. Are they now? All right, I found it, and a bunch of fidgeting with my printer later, and we have it. Yay, the character sheet. Before you start playing the game, create a document or piece of paper called a taste menu. Okay, well, I don't think there's anything I really like, so this is kind of like a solo safety feature, and I think that that's kind of cool. I don't think it's something we're going to actually use today, because we're just going to kind of test out and see what this game has to offer. But just know that I don't ever cover crazy heavy topics here. All right, so just know that as you're watching, right? A Torch in the Dark already contains some ideas like insects, violence, and certain encounters that might make you uncomfortable. If you intend to play a game, it might be a good idea to have a menu ready so you can add topics as you read through it in the game. Find all the sheets that you need. Do you know you could find the character sheets? This little guy's fun. You could find them? All right, cool, thanks. Appreciate that, bro. All right, now we're on to the phases of play. Torch in the Dark is split into 2 primary modes of playing. The game will be delves and downtime. These will be detailed later. Delves are when you descend into a dungeon, right? Fight the lords, drain your character of their resources, beat up things, and weigh down with various consequences. Each delve has a goal, described in the dungeon's introduction. Very good. Kill a particular undead, find a secret, etc. If you complete your goal of the dungeon or decide to retreat between encounters, you then immediately enter the downtime phase. During downtime, you have the opportunity to recover from your last delve. Rolling dice. A Torch in the Dark is fueled by dice rolls. You roll a pool of D6s. D6s. Go. Very good. That's where we're going to be rolling. You roll these to overcome encounters, take risks, recover. Whenever you roll dice, you read the single highest result. You make 2 types of rolls in a game. The risk rolls and downtime roll. Different encounters will call for you to risk it. When you risk it, assemble your pool equal to the number of skills and items you think your character can bring and bear against the challenge ahead of them. You then roll the dice and keep the highest result. If the highest result of the roll is a 6, that is a success, you overcome the challenge and suffer no consequences. So a 4 or 5 is mixed and 1 through 3 is a fail. You must pick a consequence and attempt to roll again. If your result is multiple 6s, then you get a critical success. This counts as multiple successes. Immediately ends an encounter in your favor and allows you to get rid of some consequences marked on your sheet. All right, self-explanatory. Roll the dice, keep the highest roll. Very good. All right, so drawing cards. Delving is basically the act of drawing cards in the deck and seeing what we have to face. When you handle the cards, shuffle them before each delve. When you delve, draw one card at a time. Flip the card face up, set it next to the deck. Consult the dungeon guide, see what it represents. Follow the encounter prompt on the card. When you complete the encounter, draw the next card. Some cards you have to make multiple rolls before you can complete it. Some encounters have an optional risk roll. All right, I'm liking what I'm reading so far. I do like a game that uses playing cards. I really do. I mean, there's a lot of them, especially when it comes to solo games. There's a lot of them. Your character's inventory is how much space you have. Well, yeah. These items can be stored in a sturdy backpack, a series of pockets, whatever you want to imagine. Your inventory is represented by 15 squares and a 3x5 rectangular grid, seen below. We also have it here on the character sheet. To add an item to your inventory, write it down. So it takes up squares equal to its load. An item's load is how many boxes an item takes up. For example, armor always takes 3 load and must be written so it takes up 3 continuous boxes in the inventory. Like this armor. This was written in Canada, for sure. Canadians, we love you. Back when we were only Twitch streamers, when I was only a Twitch streamer, I think like 90% of my friends, my fans of the Twitch were all Canadian. It's crazy. So shout out to y'all. Here's an example of an inventory during a delve. We're going to need a pencil if we're going to be using that stuff like that. Very much so. It's kind of cool. I really like the way that they've done this. If you can write it and fit it into that box, you're good to go. When you delve, you will gain treasure. Treasure is 1 load, represents different items. These could be coins, jewelry, gems, and trinkets. When you finish a delve and leave the dungeon, all your treasures are converted to stash. You can never have more than 20 stash, but you can keep treasure in your inventory until you have room in your stash, so that's good. Whenever you risk it in a dungeon and your highest result is less than a 6, you will need to pick some consequences. Many encounters will make it obvious what the consequences are. It is always up to you which consequence you choose, but your choices may change based on what your character does. Before I want to look a little more about this character sheet here, we've got our inventory, we've got our stash, we have spots for companions, we actually have skills, conditions, notes, stress and corruption, and then we have our quick reference sheet here. So I potentially could fold this and put it in my little booklet. That's kind of cool. Here's another important one. You mark conditions as you take them, right? But if you mark one condition more than your character has skills, your character dies. So I think that's why we have them next to each other on the character, right? So we have our skills, we have our conditions. Examples of conditions include the examples below, but you're not limited to these. Afraid, angry, anxious, battered, bitten, beaten, bleeded, bloodied, bludgeoned, broken, bones, bruised, burned, cold, concussed, confused. This is a cool list right here. I wish it was a roll chart. If I wish this condition thing was a roll chart, that'd be fun. At least put like numbers next to it, and you can get like 3 bombs for an item. And whenever you use one, you just erase it, and then it takes up 2 squares instead of 3 bombs. Very cool. And it's the same for armor too. If your armor takes a dent or a cut, it goes down to 2 instead of 3. All right, next page. Corruption tracks how your character's body is being overtaken by the diabolical magics in the dungeon beneath Canaanburr. When you select this consequence, mark 1 corruption on your character's corruption track. You can take companions with you, and whenever they take harm, mark the harm. When a companion's harm boxes are filled with 4, they die. So you can encounter companions and recruit them, but not every person you encounter wants to be a companion, so it'll let you know. All companions have a name and a role. If a companion can help you, you can add a D to a role. Companions only stay with you for 1 single delve, so we're not building a party here. Good to know. To get experience by failing, there are 3 ways you can die: from conditions, corruption, or light. If your character ever runs out of sources, light sources, meaning they have no torches or lanterns, etc. marked in their inventory, they become lost in the dark forever, and darkness reigns over the entire city. Even outside, you cannot be without a source of light. Okay. Now we get to build our character. Well, yeah, exciting. Doesn't seem too complicated. All right, so this game calls for a pencil and eraser. This is actually a mechanical pencil-looking pencil. It's kind of crazy. I like it a lot. And I actually have a D6. This is an eraser, so we're going to be using this as well. I don't know where I got it from, but just things you get from being in our hobby for long enough. So we get 3 torches to start with. I'm writing in pencil. It's going to be hard to see, so I'll just make sure to say it out loud. And we get 3 skills and 3 items. So these are the list of skills. And basically, you can come up with your own skills, but they have a list of like basic skills that you could potentially use. And these are something that we can do whenever we risk it. So if we want to go with like medicine, acrobatics, whatever, these are kind of just keywords that we can kind of use to get extra dice on certain skill rolls. So what kind of character do we want to make? think, is the question. Usually when I do a system for the first time, I usually try to keep it basic and I just go with like the strong brute guy whenever I play a system for the first time because, you know, punch and survive is kind of the best way to go when you're learning anyway. Just explosives in here. Imagine just using bombs, just blowing up everything in a dungeon. That's kind of fun, actually. But I think we're going to go with Brawl. That makes sense. And we'll go with Athletics. And then just for fun, this is going to be Hex the Delver instead of Hex the Farmer. Shout out if you've seen that series. A lot of my one-shots, anytime I can, I use this regular old farmer guy. So he's going to be Hex the Delver this time, which means we're actually going to give him something to do with farming. You know what? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do endurance. Before I move forward, I was just checking DriveThruRPG, like the PDF stuff. I actually printed this like a month ago when I got it, like, I don't know, December. And I'm looking at the PDF online, and it actually looks like there's an updated version of A Torch in the Dark. So everyone just be aware of that, because this one looks different than what I have. But it's basically the same. It's just formatted differently. I'm sure there's some extra stuff in there, though. Anyways, moving on. Items make up the other half of our risk roll. Having a diverse set of items is just as important as having a diverse set of skills. All items have a load, which determines how many consecutive squares they cover in your inventory. Torch in the Dark assumes you will need to keep one hand free for a light source when you delve. All items that require 2 free hands are therefore omitted from the list. Feel free to come up with your own items and use examples below. Very good. We get 3 items. We're going to take armor, and I'm going to spell it like the Canadians do and put it here on the bottom. Armor takes up 3 loads, so that's 3 spots straight across. And we're going to have to take an axe, of course. That's 2. That's 2. And then let's take the wrecking tools. That was also in the example. We'll just call it tools here. It also takes up 2. So those are our 3 items. Then we have some example characters. Pretty good. Lyria the Bard. Aldicic the Deposed Duke. So we can actually come back to this later if we find anybody in the dungeon and just take one of these guys as companions. So when we play Torch in the Dark, we delve through dungeons in order that they are listed in the guide, starting with the Vault of Viscount Allard, Hund. There are 9 dungeons in total. Each dungeon has an introduction where we are explained to the history of the dungeon and who is buried there. Each dungeon has a goal, something you need to achieve before you can move on. Delves will take up most of your time playing. Each delve has several encounters. An encounter is represented by a card drawn from the deck. Each card has corresponding description in the dungeon guide, which you will follow to proceed. General encounters, Ace through 10, are simple challenges and are the same through each suit, meaning the 2 of clubs and the 2 of diamonds represent some sort of encounter within the dungeon. Unique encounters, face cards, are more varied, detailed, and often have better rewards, but also may require more risk rolls. Jokers are also unique encounters, however, so we better put those back in there. Is all I'm saying. I took them out right there in the middle. They always represent encounters with demons. A demon encounter are especially difficult, requiring several risk rolls and rarely have rewards. You can choose to end a delve at any time. So if you're playing this and you want to just get out and go back and rest, whenever you have not completed an encounter and have not drawn the next encounter card, so you can't leave right in the middle of an encounter, but you can go and do downtime. Once you complete a dungeon's goal, you may complete the delve and begin downtime. I feel like a lot of things are getting repeated in here. Maybe the new formatting that they did has a less repetition. It's like whoever wrote this is trying to get it into your head. This is how it works. This is how it works. This is how it works. That's kind of what I'm feeling so far. And that's why I'm skipping a lot of paragraphs for you guys, because there's no reason for me to read every single word of this thing, because it's kind of just like banging it into your head. You can also take a stress to get an extra D6. That's important. If the highest roll is a 6, we succeed. 4 to 5 consequences. 1 through 3 is a failure. And if we fail, we get XP. But if we fail, we get a consequence and then another risk roll. Whenever we get a critical success, we can also clear a stress or corruption. That's good. And then here's the summary. We get 1 for a skill, 1 for an item, 1 if we push, and 1 for a relevant companion. If we're fighting a demon, we get -1 for any corruption. Ooh, nice little dungeon art there. Very good. We love it. Then we have a full example of a delve. That's fun. And then we have our downtime, which I think we'll come back to this whenever we do our down, right? So we have 9 dungeons, 14 unique encounters. And there's this paragraph here I really like. If you see an encounter with rules that are different than the rules you just read, follow the rules in the dungeon, because things might get weird down there. Good luck. I love that. All right. This is pretty simple. I think, if you skip to this part of the actual play, we're about to begin. But I do think that once you learn the rules of this game, super, super simple. I think that there's way too many pages in the front part that just kind of like repeats. But if you did skip to this part, I want to say that there is a new version of A Torch in the Dark on DriveThruRPG. I'm using the older version from 2025. So just know that. They probably realized that and did some reformatting themselves. Anyways, let's get into the actual play, shall we? Yes, we have Hex the Delver. He's got armor, tools, an axe, and 3 torches. And I swear, I thought there was going to be mechanics that dealt with light, right? Like, it must be in the cards. It must be. I guess it says it's just assuming that you always have one in your hand. So the fact that we have 3 means that one of them bad boys is lit up and we're good to go, right? So Hex the Delver has got him an axe and he wants to go adventuring. So we approach the first dungeon. That's what we do. The first dungeon is the Vault of Viscount Allard Hund. Our debrief is: the Viscount was in charge of wheat production for Kinber. The royalists claim that he died of exhaustion plowing the fields. But we all knew that man never set foot on a farm, not unless it was to berate his workers or to secret away his best farmers. His soul was probably claimed by the demons the big born consorted with, though I also hear a rumor that he died on the commode. He had a habit of forcing his best farmers to be buried in his vault, and sometimes he wouldn't even wait until they were dead. The Viscount hated the idea that other lords would steal them away and profit from their labor. After the revolution, many people have attempted to delve into the vault, seeking the remains of their families and some personal recompense from this dreadful landowner. He was cunning and a loathsome man, and we cannot afford to see his like rise again. Expect other desperate delvers and traps fashioned from farming equipment. What is our goal? Oh, our goal: kill Viscount Allard Hun. That is our goal. Jacks. So we gotta get a jack. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like these solo one-shots, I have a bunch of them on the channel where I just do one-shots of solo games, just to give you an example of how to play, and then we play through it a little bit. I use my imagination and kind of play it the way that I would afterwards. So yeah, if you like stuff like that, check out the playlist, and I have a bunch more coming. And if you have any suggestions of solo one-shots for me, leave them in the comments below, or join the Discord and suggest them to me there. I'm saying all this while I shuffle. All right, we're trying to find and kill Viscount Allard Hund. We have our cards here. We've been shuffled. The dungeon is ready. We flip our first card. It is an ace. A wooden door is covered in iron locks. Risk it. All right, so we got to get through this door. What would Hex the farmer do? Hex don't know how to do nothing. Although we do have our breaking tools. I want to go back to breaking tools to remember exactly what was inside of there. Wrecking tools is what they call them. A pry bar, iron stakes, a saw, etc. We've got wrecking tools. We've also got athletics. So I think that'll add us 2 right off the bat. Our tools and our athletics are going to be using this stuff. We could use, I don't think, brawls, fist fighting, and endurance is, to take a hit, right? So that's going to give us 3d6 in total. So got our 3d6. Let's roll for it. That's 2 1s and a 3. A 3 means that we fail, which means we're going to take a condition already. I think that Hex whips out the pry bar and starts to just pry this thing open. And I think that the pry bar breaks and he's going to get a big old cut in his arm. So we're going to take a condition of arm gash. And then as it says, if you fail, you got to do it again. But now we've got this condition. Hold on, I'm just checking a thing. Does this condition now affect our roll? No, but we also get to mark a XP. We failed on athletics. I think now he's mad, and so he's going to use his axe and his brawl to just try and break the thing down, is what he's going to do. And I also kind of want to say that our tools now only takes up 3 spots, my D6 eraser, or 2 spots because we used our pry bar and we broke it. I think having a digital character sheet would be better because that inventory is going to be a mess. All right, here we go. And come on, no whammies. Hey, 2 4s and a 2, which means we succeed and we take 1 more consequence. So we get this door open, we smash it down like crazy. And then what is our next consequence here? Was it a wooden door? We can call it splinters. We get a bunch of splinters. All right, we have 2 more conditions until we just die. That was our first card. This game ain't easy. That's all I'm saying, all right? Cool. Flipping our next card. That's a 7. We found a secret cache of food and supplies. Clear 1 stress, 1 corruption, or condition. Well, alrighty. We're back in this, baby. I think the arm gash is going to affect him the most. So let's go ahead and clear out the arm gash. That is some good luck. So right away in the first room, he steps in and it looks like maybe it's a bunch of stuff left over from someone who previously went in here and just left, decided not to go. And that's totally fine. All right, next card. The King. The stone coffin for the captain of Viscount's personal guard remains unopened, though you can hear the sounds of a noise scraping on the stone inside. If you open it, risk it, ×2. If you do, we gain 2 treasure inside the coffin. Do we risk it right away? I think we have to risk it to get it open. So that's going to be athletics and our tools again. And then we're going to have to kill whatever's on the inside. I think for the sake of the game, we risk it. I think we get the treasure. Yeah, I mean, right away. Let's do it. I think that's a good plan, which means we're rolling 3d6 again. So let's go. We're going to get it open. Hex has a second pry bar. He throws it in there. What is that? I can't see it. 2 3s and a 1 again. Oh, great. So we break our pry bar. We gash our other arm. And we're going to mark endurance fail. Do we continue? Do we keep trying? Because now we have to roll 2 more times because we have to try to succeed and then kill we should have went with explosives. It's like we could have blew up the door, just blew up the friggin', oh man, goodness. Okay, so this isn't even a question mark. So as you can see here, it's a question mark if you can possibly risk it. So we actually have to. So me thinking that we could maybe doesn't even matter. We actually have to do it again. Okay. Here we go. Tools, athletics. We could probably stack some stuff on there like endurance and stuff, but I don't want to. So come on, let's do it. Oh, and you know what? Let's push it with the stress. So let's take a 4th dice. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Whoops. Ooh, that's a 6, a 1, and 2 2s. So that's a 6, which is a full success, but we take the stress. So we pry the thing open. Pop it completely off. Beautiful. And then I think this zombie personal guard just comes right out of the thing. And we can see like gold and jewelry and stuff all in this thing. And we're like, oh. And I think he's just right away going to swing his axe at its head before it even can get out of this thing. He's going to try anyway. And we're going to take another point of stress because why not? So we're going to use our axe and our brawl this time. Come on, Hex. That's 2 4s, a 2, and a 1, which means we're going to succeed with a consequence. So awesome that we succeed, but I think this zombie is going to take a bite out of our arm. So, or our chest or something. Bite. We're just going to put bite on there. But we did succeed, so we get the 2 treasure. Treasure. Very good. Now here's the question. We have another point. We took 3 conditions, and I think I actually want to explore what downtime is like in this game a little bit. So now before we draw our next card, we're actually allowed to go back, right? And we can go and do downtime to see if we can recover from all this crap. We got 2 treasure, so that's going to give us 2 stash, right? Let's go back to downtime. Hex is like, oh man, and we're going to leave right away. When you end a delve, you immediately enter downtime phase where you recover, and it actually suggests that you think about the character's wider outside world. Do they have a home? Do they stay in an inn? Where do they rest? I love that. When you exit a delve and enter downtime, you can sell all your treasures, convert them to stash. So we're selling 2 treasure for 2 stash. You spend stash to get dice to perform the downtime rolls. You have to perform the downtime rolls. Each of the downtime rolls listed in this chapter lets your character recover a resource. You may also do these rolls in any order, but you may perform each roll only once. You can spend as much stash as you want for each roll, and you get 1 dice to roll for each stash spent. You must spend at least 1 stash on a downtime roll, so you have to. So we can cleanse our corruption, we can recover from our conditions, we can rest to remove our stress, but it also has indulging in vices like gambling, sex, or studying the secrets of the occult. And then we could also resupply. It's kind of fun. So even on resupply, you roll for the amount of items that you get. We cannot sell items from our inventory. That's good to know. Okay, so we have 2 stash, so we can try to just do our conditions. So we can spend both of our stash just to fix our conditions, because that'll give us 2d6. And we have to get, well, no matter what, we'll recover 1. So is it worth it then? Because we could get an item like a bomb. Just start blowing shit up. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to use both of our stash just to try and recover all of our conditions, because then we can go for it, right? Cool. That's a 1 and a 2. Great! So we get to remove 1 condition. I guess let's get rid of the bite. So let's think about how he recovers from the bite. Obviously, it goes to a doctor and gets it wrapped up. That's pretty simple. And then we rest for the day. We go back the next night, back into the dungeon. We go through the room, we open the door, go through the room, and then we're at the next door where we draw our next card. And that's a 9. An undead knight stumbles around the dark. It hasn't spotted us yet, so risk it. Okay, good thing that we heal. Gonna be spending stress like candy. Obviously, axe and brawl is gonna help us here. It says that it hasn't spotted us yet, so we want to give ourselves an extra dice because it hasn't seen us. I'm down with that. That gives us 4. Okay, so here we go. That's a 5, which means we succeed and get a condition. Dude, this is tough. Where's that list of conditions? I don't know where it is. So we're going to get that bite mark back, and we're going to axe him right in the head. And then we could leave again, but that literally does nothing for us because we have no stash and no treasure. So we have to just move forward. So we're going to roll the next card. That is a 10. The wall breaks open, and skeletal undead farmers pour out. Risk it. Okay, we're going to go on ahead and give ourselves stress so we can roll with 4 dice again. Is what we're going to do, and we're going to roll here. We got a 6. Very good. So we just mow them down. Undead farms. Just like Hex is like, I was a farmer in my past life, and just starts axing these fuckers. Sick. And with a 6, you just succeed, right? Just straightforward success. No conditions. Yep, the highest roll is a 6. You succeed. Very good. All right, now can we move to the next room? Here we go. Did I mark that stress? No, but I did. 9 again. An undead knight stumbles around in the dark. Hasn't spotted you yet. Okay. Here we go. He's in the dark, so we're going to give ourselves the extra d6, just like we did last time. We got a 6. Okay, very good. All right, so we take him out. Nice. Easy peasy. Next card. 4. Something new. The ceiling above you collapses, and the hall begins to flood with rotten grain. Risk it, so like... We're like, oh no, not the grain. We're going to drown in grain. Our breaking tools. We could use our breaking tools, our endurance to move through the grain, our athletics to use the breaking tools to break down the wall to get out of here and move away the ceiling debris. So we're going to give ourselves 4 dice again. Here we go. That's a 6. Okay, we're finally making progress. So we break in, break down the wall. We get to the next room. We could hear the grain still falling. Here we go. Next room. That's a 3. A pit opens beneath you. Rusted iron pitchforks line the bottom. We have to jump as this pit opens. We have nothing. I'm wondering when our armor comes into play as well, because I'm wondering if that bite could have went into armor. I think that's a good point to remember. We have the armor that I just forgot. Okay, we got to jump. We have athletics, and that's it. So we have 2d6. This could be the end of Hex the Farmer. Here we go. No, that's a 6. We do it. Very good. All right, he jumps over the pit. We're good to go. Next card, 5. We see traps set in the walls ahead, scythes and rakes that swing from the walls. Great. This could be the end of Hex. I just keep saying that. Okay, we're going to take the point of stress. All we have is athletics, so we're going to have 3d6 here. And we're going to take another point of stress. I need to go back and read what happens if we get too much stress, is what I need to do. I could be doing this wrong. All right, here we go. That's 2 3s and a 2, which means we get an experience, which means we could potentially level up. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a hit into our armor from these scythes. So our armor is going to go down to 2. So we're actually going to survive here. So now it's 2 armor because it's cut up. It's got a big old gash in it. He almost went out. But that means that we failed, which actually means that we have to roll it again. But we get to level up because all of our XP slots are filled. So let's take something to do with something that doesn't deal with physical ability already. You know what? Let's go with wrecking, because we have the wrecking tools. And in the book, there is wrecking. So if we have to break something or break something apart again, we'll have that skill. All right, next card. Oh, we're not drawing a card. I'm going to put that in the middle. We are rolling again because we have to get past these sides. And we're going to do athletics. And I want to take another point in stress, but I probably shouldn't. So let's think about what a final point of stress does to us. Does it give us a condition? Okay, I did find it. If you go above your stress, you just start marking corruption instead. But I also read that whenever you get a 4 to 5, you don't have to mark a condition, like it says in this PDF, in this book. In the PDF, it actually says you can do a condition, lose an item, mark a stress, or mark a corruption. So I've just been marking conditions this whole time. You could actually lose items. So whenever I did the arm gash and lost the pry bar, I should have just did the arm gash. So that is something to know. Anywho, we have to try to get past these axes again. So we're going to take a point in stress. We're going to do athletics, and we have our 1. So let's see if Hex survives. Oops. Will he live? We got a 5. So success here, but what we can say is we actually just go down in armor ranking here. So this isn't as insane hard as I thought. Now we only have a 1 in armor. And now we flip our next card. A Jack. Okay, I think Jack is what we wanted to do here. Yes, this is the whole point. The tomb of Viscount Allard Hund is full of painted frescoes and statues imitating the walls, farmers who suffered under him for years. His elaborate sarcophagus slowly opens. Risk it. Oh yeah, I just wanted to look at the PDF to see how different, to see what this number is, because I can't, my printer. This PDF is way different, y'all. It's crazy. So in this new PDF, each suit has its own things. It's still the same basic game, just there's a lot more options. Okay, in this one, we need the Jack of Clubs. That's fine. Risk it 3 times. After 3 successes, you find 3 treasures and complete the goal for this dungeon. Okay, so we have to risk it 3 times. Let's see if we can do it. His sarcophagus slowly opens. Just throw a bomb in it and shut that bad boy. I'm telling you, we should have went with explosives. No, okay, we're going to do axe. We're going to do brawl, and we're going to do athletics. I'm just going to call it there. And we're going to get a point of stress because this is crazy. So that's 4. Which is going to give us 5 dice. Run over to him. Try to just start attacking him before he can even get out of that dang thing. Let's go. Is that all failures? Is that all failures? That's 2 3s and 3 2s. That's insane. What the heck? Okay, well, we run over there, we try. He grabs our hand and looks us right in the eyeballs, and his mouth opens all crazy zombie-like, and he's like, "You will be mine." And we're like, "Oh, shit." So we failed. We're going to get an XP. And since we got a new thing, we could actually take another condition because we have another experience point, right? We're going to take a point of corruption. He's not a demon, right? He's a zombie, so that's fine. Yeah, so we're going to take a point of corruption, I think, is what we're going to do. And then we're going to run it back. Because we're going to kill this guy. He is like the boss, right? So let's get it everything we got. We're going to take another point of corruption, and we're going to roll 5 dice to try to succeed. That's 2. That's a critical success, which means we succeed twice. Because that's 2 6s. That's exactly what we want. So we pull our hand out and just hit him in the head twice. Bow, bow. And then we only need to succeed 1 more time. I'm not going to do another point of corruption, so we're not going to get 5 dice. But we are going to get 4. Let's do it. That's a 6 and a 5, which means we succeed. We hit him in the head 1 more time. We take him out, and we're going to get 3 treasure. Which means we have completed the first dungeon. Man. I, real quick, just quickly want to show you guys what this PDF looks like. It's way different. It's way different. It's crazy, honestly. It even has a different cover, version 1.1, and it's got all this stuff in here. And look at this table of contents. So much different from the one that we have. So it's organized better. Each page only has 1 image on it. It looks better, but also the important part is the gameplay is different. So come down here, you can see the Vault of Viscount Larlet Horde. Each suit has its own bits in here. And it also says, you may risk it. You may risk it. Instead of the question mark and the exclamation point thing they were doing before, it just tells you if you can or you can't. But it's crazy. This is way different looking. Literally, I print this out and I go to play it 2 weeks later and they've posted an updated version that's way different. That is insane to me. What are the odds? Anyways, really truthfully just wanted to share that with y'all. But here's the thing. We're done playing Torch in the Dark. We finished the very first dungeon. If you want to see me play more Torch in the Dark, make sure to leave a like on this video and let me know. And we'll continue. And I'll do the new updated version. All right? Absolutely. But for now, this was just a solo one-shot. I hope you enjoy it. If you have checked out Torch in the Dark before, let me know down in description. Down in comments. Absolutely. And use description links to help support the show. But for now, my friends, take a seat on the couch and roll initiative. At least until you happen to slay Vulan Hundhad, a name of a farmer guy who I cannot pronounce. That's right. Roll on that, weirdos. See you next time. Toodaloo!